Hi ladies, and welcome back to my channel. This is the Dirty December Dating Bible, your channel of all things African men, African sugar daddies, or getting your African king. In today's episode, we'll be discussing whether you have what it takes to successfully date or marry an African man. Do you have the right character, behavior, personality, or traits to successfully date one? Stay tuned to find out. In most, if not all African countries, values are very important. Some of these include respect, cultural awareness, religious awareness, social norms, gestures, body language, and social cues. All these things must be taken into accountability before wanting to date an African man, as if done incorrectly, these things can cause offense. However, if done correctly, these things will very easily move you up the ranks in being able to date or marry an African man. Little things like gestures can mean certain things in different countries. Gestures with your hands, gestures with your face, things you say, things that are deemed as tongue-in-cheek or not acceptable differ from country to country. And all of these social cues must be studied per the man you're dating and where he's from and what is expected, so that you do not cause offense nor stick out like a sore thumb. Here in the Western world, many young women believe they have what it takes to date African men. However, upon trying this, many quickly find out and discover why they're not cut out for this dating type. A lot of girls from the West are used to being free thinkers, freedom of speech, feminism, and people who are very independent. They know their rights and they don't back down on this by and large. Although this is a great thing for a woman to be confident, independent, and stable in mind, and also to stand for something, it also must be done moderately in the African society. Behaviors that are frowned upon are perpetrated heavily in the West amongst young women. These behaviors can be seen as combative, confrontational, loud, aggressive, and I know it all attitude, rude, and very, very distasteful, among many other negative traits that can be perpetrated and will be looked down upon by the average African man. And that I've met in Africa who complain and actually state that they believe Western girls are quite rude. And this comes by and large by experiences they've had with individual girls or scenarios they've witnessed themselves about how girls from the West conduct themselves whenever they're visiting, living, or relocating to Africa. You must understand that every society has traditional and cultural expectations. You must play to this accordingly, otherwise you will stick out like a sore thumb and for all the wrong reasons. And if you lack respect, you'll have very little success in climbing up in the hypergamy game in Africa. The best way to warm an African man's heart is first and foremost to be humble, respectful, and be a good listener. Be adaptable, be ready to learn, absorb the culture, to adapt and change as and when needed. This doesn't mean you have to change yourself entirely. It just means you have to be open to learning, understanding, and accepting. Friends of mine recount incidents where they've seen girls shout at waiters or be rude to locals or fight in public. This is not seen as very good behavior on the continent, and this will instantly put you under a red flag and in someone's black books. This is not the impression you want to give if you want to have success with most African men. A bit of being sassy is sexy, but too much is seen as problematic, and this will really hinder your growth in the dating scene. So please, if you have this attitude, you need to revise all of this before you even consider talking to an African man, speak less of dating. So, ladies, this is all I have to say in today's episode. Ask yourself this question: am I best suited to dating an African man? Could I hack his expectations of me? Could I marry an African man successfully? Could I even have an African sugar daddy and be understanding and know my place, play my role, and do what is expected of me? If the answer is no, then perhaps there's room for alteration. If the answer is yes, fantastic. This is the first step to the game in dating, marrying, or sugaring with African men. That's all for today, ladies. Thank you very much for listening. This is the Dirty December Dating Bible. Please like, subscribe, share, and follow us on Instagram at Dirty December Dating Bible. A link will be soon available to buy our book on Amazon, and you can follow us on TikTok by the same name. See you in the next one. Goodbye.